You say sorry before they even speak, before the sigh has finished, before the look has landed, before anything has actually gone wrong. Your mouth is already forming the word. Not because you did something, because some part of you decided a long time ago that the safest thing to do when someone is unhappy is to make yourself the reason. Notice where it happens. You apologize for ordering the wrong thing at a restaurant, even though you ordered for yourself. You apologize when someone bumps into you. You apologize for asking a question, then apologize again for how you asked it. You apologize for crying, for taking too long, for needing a little more time. Each one feels like courtesy. Together, they form a kind of architecture, a way you have learned to take up less space. And the strange thing is, it doesn't feel like fear when you do it. It feels like kindness. It feels like you are being considerate, careful, thoughtful of the other person, which is how it was always framed, wasn't it? When you were small and someone in the room was unhappy, and the quickest way to make the tension drop was to bend toward it, to offer yourself as the explanation. It worked. That is the part that matters. It worked. Psychologists who study what they call hypervigilance in close relationships describe it as an attunement that is tipped past usefulness. You became so good at reading the emotional temperature of a room that you started managing it before anyone asked you to. You learned to scan faces the way other people check the weather, constantly, automatically, before deciding what to wear that day. The apology is just the most visible part of that habit. What you were actually learning was this: someone else's discomfort is your responsibility, not consciously, not as a rule anyone stated, but as a lesson repeated enough times that it settled into reflex. A parent who went cold when you were too loud, a partner who punished silence with silence, a friendship where your needs were always slightly too much. Each one taught you that the feeling in the room was yours to fix, and the fastest tool you had was the word sorry. Here's the thing that is hard to hold. The apology was never really about guilt. It was about protection. If you name yourself as the problem first, no one else can. If you shrink before they ask you to, you are never caught being too much. The preemptive sorry is armor that looks like softness, and it cost you something, not all at once, but slowly. Because every time you apologized for something that was not wrong, you also told yourself it was. Think about who you do not do this with. There are probably one or two people in your life around whom you do not scramble. You state a preference. You take up your space. You feel something, and you say it without building a small legal defense around it first. Notice the difference in your body when you are with them. The absence of the low-level monitoring. That is what ease actually feels like. That is the baseline you are allowed to want. The apology that isn't earned doesn't make peace, it just defers the cost. Because what you are actually doing each time is confirming a story, that your presence requires justification, that your feelings are a burden, that love is something you have to continuously earn by making yourself easier, and the person across from you, even if they love you, even if they are trying, starts to accept that story too. They stop questioning it. They stop saying no. You don't need to apologize for that, because you never paused long enough to let them. Rilke wrote in a letter in 1904 about the difficulty of loving someone without consuming them or being consumed, about how hard it is to maintain the self inside the closeness. He wasn't talking about apologies, but he was talking about this: the constant quiet erosion of your own edges in the presence of someone you love, the way you can disappear into someone else's need for you to be smaller, and call it devotion. Unlearning it is not a decision you make once. It's 100 small pauses. It's letting the silence stay for a moment after someone looks displeased, without filling it with yourself. It's noticing the sorry rising in your throat and asking, gently, without judgment, what am I actually apologizing for here? Not to stop being kind, but to find out which kindnesses are real and which ones are just old fear wearing a familiar face. You are allowed to take up the space you take up. You are allowed to be in a room without managing it. The feeling someone else is carrying, their frustration, their distance, their quiet disappointment, it was never entirely yours to solve. Some of it was always theirs. And the love that asks you to keep shrinking to prove it is real is a love asking you to disappear. You don't owe anyone your disappearance.